Vixen looks at the three possible guides. Would any of you not be willing to do this? They all shake their heads. Carl, could you perhaps explain yourself just a little bit? Why? Carl, the fate of rain is in the balance. I do not think now is the time to be withdrawn. He glances back at the city. Yeah, I spent a lot of time reading about politics and a lot about the other governments. Are you sure you want to send me? I'm not exactly the most friendly individual. There's kind of reason I keep shut up. Just saying, Vixen.
We have friendliness handled.
Fair enough. She turns towards the one with the loot. Could you perhaps explain yourself just a little bit? Well, in what way would you like me to explain myself? Perhaps why you would be a good guide. Oh, well, I suppose, well, I mean, I've never rubbed shoulders with the upper echelon. Well, okay, I have sometimes. Usually it's when they're sentencing me to jail time or something like that. But, I have a lot of friends, some of them not in, shall we say, the most, up and up places. Depending on where you go, and I have various places I can go and some places I can't. But I will admit that, with the four of us, we probably move pretty quick. Light on our feet, small group, easy peasy. And also, I mean, not gonna lie, the Savior of Rain sounds kind of like a cool title. I'd get that title, right? Did you get a title? Yes? Vixen narrows her eyes a little bit. Just asking! No harm in asking, right? Right? She then turns towards Dylanaz and asks, and, what about you? Dylanaz cracks a huge grin. Dylanaz can promise safety as we travel, and Dylanaz is friend to all ports and all cities. Dylanaz has many friends throughout all of Foenum. And on top of that, Dylanaz can always turn a disaster into an opportunity. And Dylanaz is always looking for more friends. Dylanaz remembers fondly some friends he had many months ago. Oh, has it been so long since Bacanor? Nods. Good times, good friends. Besides, Dylanaz is no stranger to adventuring types. So while Dylanaz cannot promise speed, he can promise safe entry and safe travels.
Carl?
Turns around.
What do you know about... How capable would you be for governing a small like this?
One more time?
Huh?
One more time?
How capable would you be of helping to govern a small group such as this?
I haven't traveled much. Why would I?
Well, I'm referring more to how well would he be able to handle the group of refugees right here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I misunderstood. He looks at her curiously. What do you mean? I would just do what I always do, sit off quietly, keep an eye on my sister-in-law. I don't like people and they don't like me, so I don't talk to them.
I see. Anyone else?
The question is, what would you do if you stayed behind, basically?
Yeah, pretty much.
Gotcha. The loot guy turns towards you. Oh, well, I'd probably do what you did, actually. Like, I don't know why I didn't think about it myself, but, like, when he started singing, I was like, wow, that's actually really effective. So, I guess I would just stay here and provide moral support? I'd get a title for that, right? Vixen narrows his eyes. I mean, it'd help calm the people. And Dilnaz speaks up. Dilnaz, well, Dilnaz is a traveling merchant, and Dilnaz thinks he will probably see to it that the people here are well fed and cared for as best as Dilnaz can, and he shall proceed forward to continue to travel. And truth be told, Dilnaz will probably try and spread word of the peril of rain. He shakes it. Oh, of course, Dilnaz would spread the word.
Hey, I would hope. I would hope any merchant would.
As I said, from a DM's perspective, this is a group vote. So each of you get to basically vote for who you would like to go with. So I don't want anyone to feel like one of you um, gets to choose.
Too many options. Dilnas will be leaving anyway. I think he's probably... Well, the question is whether or not if his leaving would be more beneficial. I mean, okay, when we look at it, we have to consider most people here actually are traveling merchants anyway, right? Because we were in the outside market district.
There were some traveling merchants.
But
Basically,
some were also customers, I guess. Then?
So what was there? All the reindeer were locals. All the non-reindeer were the visitors. So what's here are there's a lot of locals as well as several non-locals as well.
So a lot of people are going to be leaving and spreading information anyway. If Dilnaz were to leave, he'd just be another one of those people.
Well, here's the thing that I'm considering. Like, we should not only consider who we're taking, but who we're leaving behind.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
And what I'm thinking is, if Dilnas is a traveling merchant, wouldn't it make sense that he would help transport the entire group? Because make a caravan, stay on the move, make sure there's always food in the area.
Well, keep in mind what you're looking at is there's actual several hundred individuals here.
Yeah.
Right.
So he couldn't very well take this whole motley group with him on the road.
Also, I think Dilnaz said he wouldn't be staying here, so that wouldn't be a long-term thing.
I think he's going to just make sure everyone's okay, then ditch the place.
Yeah.
But, ditch just a nicer word. But,
I'll say, yeah, ditch isn't quite the right word.
Yeah.
Sooner or later, he's going to have to leave, because that's what he does.
Yeah. And at least a small percent of the other ungulates here probably will too, because, some were merchants, presumably. Some were foreign and all that. So,
Well, here's the thing.
I say we go for Carl. Donaz, if we leave him behind, he'll definitely help everybody else out, which is what we want.
Yeah. What would Carl do if we left Carl behind?
Carl will not do anything. He's like his only function is to give knowledge, and so we need that. So might as well get that. Loot guy is he's gonna get us killed. All right.
Yeah,
I'll
Loot
be real.
guy. I love Loot guy so much. Loot guy is sorry.
So to be fair, each of them possesses a different level of knowledge, and each of them possesses a different skill set. It's basically, what would you guys like to have going into this?
I think the big thing is Loot Guy is what a lot of people fear a bard should be.
Classic spoony bards.
I feel like Loot Guy is going to have a lot of, knowledge of unsavory types.
Yeah, Luke
If
Guy
you
is
want to work outside the law, he would probably be the best of these people to go with.
Yeah,
That is-
Dilnaz, I think, is going to know the most like legitimate individuals.
just why.
Carl really just has kind of like academic knowledge, is my understanding of this.
Well,
So
Luke,
Carl doesn't get you any like social connections. He just gets you kind of. He can help you identify things. He can help analyze.
well, I can help with a social connection given I'm already an
Rogue
ambassador.
tends to be good at analysis.
Well, except that you have the skills on, but you don't necessarily have the like. You don't necessarily know someone there.
Right.
That's what you'd get from Dilnaz. Is not only would he would have some of those skills, maybe not the most important, but also he might like know the guard captain, or he'd know the mayor, or he'd know like all these other people. So he'd have an extra kind of way of access.
Well, at the very least, Carl would know the procedure.
That's true.
That's
too.
probably true.
Carl
Yeah.
would have information
he
on
would
like
know the
customs
government.
and stuff.
Yeah, he'd know
Kind
the
of
laws.
like
And I think the more important thing is, Luke Guy and Velvet will rub shoulders a lot. And I do mean that Vixen will probably want him dead by the end of this. But
That's
So
why
the
we
least he will
take him to
do
avoid a fight.
is provide entertainment.
yeah. I mean, it's not like he can stab us in the back while sitting here entertaining people. Odds are he probably won't ever do that, but he's the sort that you could coerce with money if you needed to.
I also feel like if you leave him here, the type of threat presented is not the type he would cause a problem with. Like the skeletons and zombies are not going to tempt him to anything.
Consider also, of course, what Clint is offering in the chat.
Right.
We should also consider, on the knowledge front, Apolia and Silk both have considerable knowledge skills, because I know Silk has patron things, and of course, Apolia is literally the whole, she's 20 intelligence and stuff. Bird
Mind
also
magic.
mildly has knowledge, but it's not as good as both of yours. So, it depends, frankly. We want another. Dilnaz might also know about customs too, though, is the thing.
He'd know some things. I don't know if he'd have
Probably
an in-depth
not-
knowledge of the laws, but he'd at least have
Yeah.
kind of like a surface level understanding because he needs to know that to go in and out.
There are trade laws he needs to be aware of, and goodness knows
Exactly.
those things are complicated.
And also, I think we cover all of the. I don't think I'd worry so much about skill set. It's kind of more like what sort of specialized knowledge, because I think we cover all of them in terms of things you can do. We do have a lot of charisma in the party.
Sure,
Except again, really what I think we'd get from him is that, like, if you need to get to the black market, if you need to work outside the law, if you need to, I don't know,
we
something along
don't
those
need
lines.
criminal contacts. Trust me on that one.
Uh,
No. I'm not saying that we won't eventually go to them. I'm just saying that we don't need another person who has it.
We have that covered, you're
I
saying.
think Road, for example, has Researcher, which I guess isn't entirely. The idea behind Road's backstory is that he's the sort of street researcher, as in a lot of the information he has is rumors and things he's picked up. That's how he knows about. That's how he even picked up on getting the Book of Happy in the first place. So he could probably help with that sort of thing as well if needed. His researcher feature probably has some tie into that.
But
Couldn't
like, who do
actually
you know?
black
That becomes the
market.
question.
Yeah. How much does
It's like
he
you
know?
might be able to find it, but well, this guy he was basically just telling us he knows people who might not be the most.
Yeah.
How do I put this? I'll say legal.
Savory. Yeah.
Savory was the word he used, I think. Yeah. He
Well,
knows some less savory types, so it's kind of again, if you want to weigh in, you could
I
talk to him
say,
about that.
I think we can all just agree that we're striking out Luke Guy, right?
Yeah,
He
one
seems the
voted for him.
least necessary and
the
also
most risky.
less.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking also less of a liability if we leave him here than if we take him with us.
Yeah.
And
OC.
OC kills Loot Guy. He has a spontaneous heart attack.
Oh, no.
Oh no. But I'm gonna say real quick, OC, I love Luke Guy and his personality, and it's what I wish one of my older characters had that personality whenever I played them.
I'll be honest. If given the
That's
opportunity,
all.
I'd probably bring all
Go!
three. Like, oh no!
Oh no, Luke, I died.
I would like to roll Arcana to what just happened to him.
The DM accidentally. The DM was trying to draw a. It was trying to draw this expression next to him.
The ground opened up and swallowed Luke Guy.
Disappeared in a puff of logic.
You
He's back.
have been
Go.
screwed. What?
Also, get that
What
loss
are
out.
the like game show lines?
You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
There we
Yeah,
go.
sure.
Yes, you are the weakest link. Goodbye. All right,
We
so
finished.
Luke Guy has been struck out. What next?
So then it comes down to guy with high knowledge versus guy with high knowledge and no social skills versus guy with medium knowledge and decent social skills.
In particular, though, it's going to be specialized knowledge of like other governments and of kind of magical things.
Yeah, he might
So you can
know
pull him into
other
that
leaders,
a couple.
but it's not like he's gonna be able to.
Here's the thing. I don't think he would know. He wouldn't like have contact with people, but he might know. Okay, we're in
Yeah.
this city. You want to get
Okay,
in touch
that-
with this person in government. This is who you have to talk to.
I was going to bring up a point of like, oh, he's noble. Maybe that would be helpful, but it really wouldn't, since Fawn's even more of a face than he is in that front. So
Fawn's noble and actually charismatic. Yeah, so
yeah,
we're kind of fun there.
Carl
people
is-
wouldn't have heard of Carl in the first place.
Yeah, Carl isn't really a noble. He's a noble because technically he's like got noble blood in him, but he's not a noble.
He's attached to nobility more so than
Ooh,
really
that's
like a
true.
capital
Donaz
noble.
could like, he could have heard the good stuff at the pub or whatever, and know
That is
know
true.
where all the cool people are. But at the same time, it's okay. So
I
what's
feel
the
like-
objective of this?
It depends how what type of research Carl has done into like other nations. Does he know like broad big picture stuff, or does he know small picture stuff, or does he know literally everything?
He has a thorough understanding of how the government systems work. Like for example, he would know. For example, let's say, he would understand how a republic would work, say, versus a democracy. Like he would understand how the systems work, how they, how the balance of power is handled, so on and so forth. So
Would
he
he
has
understand the political like nuances though, like specific regarding specific people? Like, okay, if you do this to this guy, then this will happen. Or is he just like, okay, I know a bunch of names, and this is what they do, and this is how it happens?
I feel like he'd probably know. My guess would be that he knows whatever is like reasonably public, or at least not too hard to find with a bit of digging.
Well, you could always ask him.
That's a possibility.
You can indeed.
Or-
You can talk to these characters and ask them questions.
Oh boy. What's your resume, both of you? Everyone just ignore Luke Guy.
Well, we've already
Carl
reached.
just takes out like a bunch of books and just like slams them down. It's like, there's my
Yeah,
resume.
Carl actually has a resume, which is kind of going to make that
No,
comment.
his resume is just like the books he reads.
Well,
No, he's written one out.
Luke Guy will begin playing some music, and sensing that his services will not be necessary. He does an all right job, kind of
It's
nice.
pretty good.
Not as good as Fawn.
But who can be?
Well, he's not. He's not.
Oh,
Shall we
not
say,
that bad.
like, right on the cusp of international celebrityship? So. Right, so like I say, if you guys want to ask them questions in character, you can go ahead and do so.
Well, how long is the? I in character. I need to do like a voice, I guess.
Well, you don't have to worry too much about.
How long has
Talking
Dylan
voice.
been traveling? Could we ask him that?
Of course.
Then let's do that.
Well, Carl and Dilnaz sit looking between the lot of you. Well, Carl has a slightly annoyed look on his face, but
Uh,
Donaz is looking.
I feel like
Right.
that's a common occurrence, though. So
I mean, Donaz is looking to be filled with some anticipation.
hmm. So Rhoda's going to tell the Dilnaz, how long have you been traveling for?
A huge grin, even larger than before, says,
Oh no.
Dilnaz has been traveling for his entire life. Dilnaz's home is all of Foenum.
there you go.
Huh.
You know what? I realized that I'm thinking too hard about this. Yeah, it's got to be. If I'm playing fun in character, it's got to be Dilnaz.
Fair enough.
Yeah, rolling out Luke Guy in character, I guess Rode would probably also go for Dilnaz. But he also would have liked something about Luke Guy and also considered
Well,
and realized that was a bad
would
idea.
you guys like to ask some more questions? I'm going to ask you guys to make a decision here pretty soon. So if you guys want to ask the NPCs any questions, now's the time.
Uh,
And by the way, I know. By the way, Typhel and Derp, I know technically you guys didn't step up to volunteer, but if you'd like to ask the NPCs questions, you go ahead and pose them, and I'll just have Vixen ask them instead.
do either of you have any family that can be used as bait against us?
What?
That's not in character, no.
The DM's not even sure what that question's like. What? Huh?
As in, still does have any kids that could be kidnapped.
Oh, come on! I would never hurt the family members of a character.
Anyways,
Hang on. He might not do it to Dilnaz, though.
That is true. It's still Naz.
okay. We should just ask Carl what like his depth of knowledge is, and depending on that, that's where I think we should make our decision. Because like if he has really, 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 really in-depth knowledge, then it's probably worth it to choose him. But if he's just like, yeah, I read a few books. I know that Bah is a democracy. Like great.
Whoa.
So
Not a very good one.
My concern with Carl, honestly, is that he has no, like, the quasi in character concern would be that he doesn't have any experience on the road, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Or kind of
This is
traveling
correct.
about, so he wouldn't really be familiar with that. All of his knowledge would be kind of academic, like things he's read about, things he's maybe studied, but
I
not
mean,
like.
my thoughts is that that's already covered by like our characters, because most of us are pretty, rugged, and so like he's very antisocial. He just stays out of the way. We ask him the type of questions when we need him, and he just doesn't do anything when we
I'll
don't.
be honest, him being antisocial pushes me toward Dilnaz, just because I think we actually have all of the knowledge skills covered. So it would be a much higher barrier for knowledge skills to be useful than connections, which is something we don't necessarily have a lot of.
That
just
is
by
true.
virtue of-
We could.
All right.
Well, I
So,
mean, there's application. My
do you have
vote's
any?
still Naz.
Do you guys have any questions you want to ask the NPCs?
I mean,
Oh.
I'd be happy to bring along both of them, but I don't think that's an option here.
No, you get one guide.
Well.
That's
Oh,
right.
combat.
Right?
Easy. What's their combat ability? It sounds like Mr. Deer here hasn't punched a person in his life, but it's still
These NPCs,
Jonas is an elephant, okay? Like,
Yeah, he is an elephant.
these NPCs will not be participating in combat. I can tell you that.
Oh, okay.
I feel like Carl would probably end up being the best combatant, just because he would have like studied magic.
Yeah.
he studied the blade.
But no, these NPCs will not. These NPCs will not be joining you on the battleground.
But also, I'm pretty sure we have combat covered between the groups. So I'm not
Yeah.
worried.
Alright.
about that one.
It would definitely for sure be way harder to kidnap Dilmas.
All right. So last call. Last call. Does anybody have any questions they want to ask these characters specifically?
I feel like I should, but I'm blank.
All right, then I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to ask each of you to what you want, and I'm going to start with. We'll start from the bottom going up. Silk, what do you vote for?
Dilnaz.
All right, Saint, what do you vote for?
I'll take Dilnaz.
Fawn. Sorry,
Dilnaz.
Red, what do you vote?
Dilnaz.
Fawn, what do you vote?
Dilnaz.
Apolia, what do you vote? All right.
Unanimous.
Then, who's going to tell Dilnaz that he's been chosen?
Me, no.
Probably Fawn would be the best.
That would make sense. Have you made a decision?
Yes, she looks toward the elephant.
He looks at her.
If you're willing to guide us, we're happy to have you on board.
Dilnaz lets a rather happy elephant toot and bows graciously. Dilnaz is moved to the depths of his heart and is very, very pleased to help with this. He shall begin preparations to depart immediately. There are many displaced merchants here who I think would be happy to assist. I believe Dilnaz can form a new family, and we shall travel together as one big group of friends.
Oh no, I gotta tell Storm this.
Oh god.
Oh boy.
This is great. Oh yeah, I guess Dilnaz also has connections to the Act 1 crew, doesn't he?
Indeed, he mentioned them.
He's all about the
offhandedly.
connections.
Dilnaz then begins talking to the various other merchants, quite excitedly. Then Vixen turns towards, well, Dilnaz, as he goes about, actually approaches Silk.
All right, can you flip me?
Yes. Oh, wait, there we go. Dilnaz is not the blind. Dilnaz is not the blind elephant. He has seen.
Oh.
Yes. Dilnaz, unfortunately, is in need of an arcanist. You see, Dilnaz had one, but it appears that she is not here. Hopefully she is safe. But Dilnaz could not help but notice that you seem to wield the arcane arts with some familiarity, yes?
Silk's gonna glance over at Red and then look back at him and nod.
He looks at Red curiously. How
I'm
curious.
just kind of gonna glare back very intensely.
Dilnaz would wonder if you perhaps would be interested in being hired as an arcanist for our little, caravan.
Yes, I could do that if that's not a problem.
Marvelous! He claps his two front legs together. Dilnaz is most pleased. Having an arcanist in the caravan is worth its own weight in gold, if not several platinum. Excellent. Well, Dilnaz should be ready to depart. He looks up. By about midday, if not sooner.
What can I do to help?
Well, Dilnaz simply just has to make arrangements and make sure there's a caravan to depart with. For the moment, you need only be patient. Perhaps meet the others who are part of the caravan.
Oh, okay.
We shall be traveling together for quite some time, and I think it best that we become fast friends, no? Or Dilnaz thinks, sorry.
Yes, that makes sense.
Marvelous, marvelous. Now, Dilnaz will need to find a rather heavily armed mercenary. Pauses, looks over at Saint. If you'll pardon Dilnaz for a moment.
Just mutter. Does Red see this?
Dilnaz is not being quiet by
It's
any stretch of the
still Naz.
imagination.
Like people a city over probably know this is happening now.
He waves sort of carefully at Saint. Like he turns towards the reindeer over there, and his whole demeanor suddenly changes. Whereas before he was extraordinarily, strong and outgoing, he suddenly seems a lot more tame and a lot calmer. He sort of waves, not gently, but just sort of somewhat casually over at Saint.
Hey.
Could you come over here for a moment? Dilnas simply wishes to speak to you for a moment.
Do I know you?
No, I do not. But I see you are well armed, are you not?
Um, define well armed.
Well, you are carrying heavy armor, are you not? And I see you have an impressive weapon by your side.
In that case, yes, that is true, I suppose.
Dilnes and his new friends will need protection. There are many, he thinks, who would see to it that our mission of goodwill will fail, particularly given the nature of the monsters that attacked. And Dimness would be wondering if you would be willing to come along as a protector of sorts.
I, I don't know. Father is still in the city, I think. I didn't see him anywhere.
Dilnaz gets a very thoughtful look on his face. It appears to Dilnaz that you have great loyalty to your father, do you not?
Yes, I mean, I would hope so.
He raises an eyebrow. You would hope so?
Well, he's raised me my entire life. I wouldn't be faithful to him if I were anything but.
Dilnaz gets kind of a thoughtful look on his face as he appraises Saint for a minute. Does your father... He raised you in the city all your life, yes?
Well, yes.
And your father, does he... How does he feel about the city?
I don't know. I mean, he stayed there.
And how do you feel about the city?
I don't know anything else beyond it. I wasn't aware there was anything beyond it.
Dilnaz actually has quite a surprised look when you say that. You were not aware? Hmm. Yes, Dilnaz finds that most curious.
Is that unusual?
It is perhaps for someone of my profession. Of course, I travel everywhere, or Dilnaz travels everywhere. For someone like you, he shrugs. Dilnaz thinks it is not terribly uncommon for those to never leave the city. It is a large city, and there are many who have never left its walls. But Dilnaz thinks, he looks at her with a somewhat scrutinizing gaze, Dilnaz thinks perhaps some travel would do you great good. In fact, I think perhaps some time to think and to reflect away from the city will help you to realize the bond you have with your father. And Dilnaz might guess that you perform much work for your father, yes?
I wouldn't have it any other way.
Nods. Then perhaps the best work you can perform for your father is to serve and save the city.
I would think that I would be more use here, wouldn't I not?
He looks back at the guards. Your services would indeed be useful, but we do not have. Dilnaz's caravan does not have, well, many of them. Dilnaz's caravan is somewhat guarded, but to have someone like you, well, that would guarantee our safety. It would guarantee that the message of help from Rain would reach the other nations. It would guarantee that we would travel without problem and without issue. Dilnaz thinks that perhaps you would be one of the most valuable assets. He shakes it. No, not assets. Friends and protectors we could possibly ask for. Dilnaz thinks that...
Can you promise that father will be safe?
He looks back at the city. Dilnaz, of course, cannot promise what is in there. But Dilnaz thinks your father is probably, well, a resourceful man. And when the time comes, Dilnaz can promise that should your father indeed be all right, he'll be able to find you with great ease. Dilnaz will take no attempts to hide your position from him.
If it helps other people, I will accompany you.
I think perhaps accompanying us will provide the greatest help to the greatest number of people that you could. Or Dilnaz, sorry, thinks that.
Saint just nods.
He holds forward one of his legs in a whatever the unglit equivalent of a handshake would be. I take it the silence is canon. She just stares at, or it just stares at it.
Yeah, she like tilts her head a little bit.
It is a form of agreement and greeting. Give me a second how to figure out how to phrase this. It acknowledges between two ungulates that the deal is done, and that they shall be friends, and shall work for the better good from here on forward.
Friend?
Dilnaz has many friends, and he thinks he would very much love to be one of yours.
Is that a good thing?
He nods. Friends are those who care for you, who love you, and wish for you to be happy.
She hesitantly raises her own hoof.
And Dilnaz grasps hers. Again, not super eagerly, but sort of somewhat energetically, and gives it a bit of a shake. Dilnaz is most pleased. And what shall Dilnaz call you?
Saint is my name.
Saint. Then Dilnaz shall call you Saint. He lets go and turns. Now, if you will pardon, Dilnaz, there is much work to do. He does not mean to be rude, but we must be going quickly. And with that, he marches off and begins, building a caravan. And at that, the Vixen then turns towards the group. And now is the final question. To which nation shall you go first?
Real question.
There is, of course, the Empire of Hoshan. They perhaps, if I had to be honest, have the best military, small, but most well-trained military in all of the Foenum. You could perhaps head to the meadow. The sheep, they themselves may not be mighty warriors, but I have heard tell that amongst them there's a family a family of wizards or spellcasters who could share great knowledge for us. You could perhaps find the woodlands and appeal to the unicorns. Good luck finding it, but I think they would be a truly valuable asset. Then, of course, there is the prairie. I think you'd be hard pressed to find more stout and hardy allies than the cattle or than the prairie folk. She looks towards Road, sort of knowingly.
He merely nods.
And then there's the mountains of Heclea, or Heclea, I'm not sure how to say it. The alpacas there are, well, I think the knowledge that they have would be truly valuable in our current circumstance. If there are any who know how to survive the harsh winters, I think it would be them. Say nothing of perhaps some individuals amongst them who might prove to be valuable.
Hmm.
To which nation shall you go first?
Yeah.
Huoshan or the prairie sound like they make the most sense.
Road nods and turns to look at a bully. If you know a general there, then that sounds like a pretty good bet.
Alright, so, Saint is silent. Huh. I have a feeling that's going to come up quite a bit.
Oh my. So, I guess then you could call her a silent night.
Ah,
That was a stretch, but reindeer are Christmassy, so it worked.
any. Plus 1 XP.
I'm adding it.
Ugh.
Alright, so, let's go ahead and I'll go ahead and get straight to the, voting bit. So let's start from the top. Polya, where would you like to go? Oshan. All right, sounds good. Road, where would you like to go?
Probably also Hoshan.
All right. I skipped Fawn. Sorry, Fawn.
I'd go Hoshan.
All right.
Hot Springs.
Hot Springs.
Of course.
That is doubled my enthusiasm for Hoshan.
Saint
Vote
is
for it again.
no vote because she has no idea where any of these places are, and half the descriptors used she doesn't know about either.
All right.
What's
Fair
a
enough.
Huoshan?
And Silk.
So in terms of kind of personal understanding, I think she'd want to go to Huakaya, but she'd also ultimately prefer to go wherever would make more sense for the group. So
All right. So you're voting.
Huoshan, I guess,
All right.
because I think that's where all the votes are going.
All right. So it sounds like you're all heading to Hoshan.
Whoa, snake
Three.
horses.
So
I mean, they're the one with the military.
Exactly.
Fawn or Vixen turns towards Fawn. Do you know where you're going?
I look toward the rest of the. I look toward Donaz. Look toward the rest of the group.
Oh no.
It appears we are heading to the volcanoes.
Dylan has cracked a huge grin. Excellent! Dylan has there's a wonderful port down there. It is a jungle. It is a volcano surrounded by a great jungle. And Dilnaz enjoys the lovely weather there. Not so much the mosquitoes. Always worry about the mosquitoes, dang it.
I know. I would like to change my vote.
I think they're balanced out by hot springs. It's fine.
Yeah, that's true.
They cancel each other.
Let's see. Can I use my Oh, let's see. Can I use my gem as a bug zapper?
No. Vixen then nods. Very well. Then I wish you the best. Thank you for doing this. We shall stay here, and we shall fortify ourselves and continue to accept any those who escape the city. They shall find refuge here. And as more guards come, we shall have better fortifications. And Carl, yes, do you think perhaps you can resuscitate your sister? I can try. If you can get her back to us, then I think we shall tip the balance greatly into our favor. Thank you again. Goodbye and good luck. With that, we'll go ahead and call session.
Alright.
All right.
And that gives me a month to plan for Hoshan. Cool.
To be
Nice.
honest, I think you would rather. I kind of think you would prefer to play Dilnaz over Carl.
What? What? What gave you that idea? What? No! You're crazy.
Like, I struggle to think of how he would have reacted if we actually chose Carl.
If you had been Carl, I'm not gonna lie, I would have been a little sad. But
I like Carl, just not as much as Dilnaz.
I'll be honest. I would bring all three of them if I could, but that's not an option.
Dilnaz is the practical option and the meme option.
Yeah, he fits both.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
It's the best of both worlds.